Hello, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Rosemary Armeo, and this is a very exciting opening chapter of Season 3 of my Armeo on the Brink podcast. Appropriately enough, with Election Day really just weeks away, we're going to be talking about, no, not Trump, relax, no Trump tonight. We have two busy politicians who are taking time away from campaigning for state Senate seats, who are going to tell us a bit about what it's like to do that running. What it's like to face an incumbent, to face voters who don't really know anything much about state government, much less about them, and why they think this is worthwhile, why they're spending their time on this. We have two people I want you to meet. One is Minita Sanghvi. She is currently the finance commissioner for the city of Saratoga Springs. She's running in the 44th district against a longtime Republican incumbent, Jim Tedesco. And we have Alvin Gamble, a Colonie NY Town board member who is trying to unseat Jacob Ashby in my own 43rd district. As a point of disclosure, I am totally biased. I'm making no pretext tonight about being fair and balanced like some other news sources you may listen to. And I will be voting for at least one of these people. If I could, if it wasn't illegal, I'd vote for both of them. So, Minita, let's start with you. What is a nice girl like you doing in a race like this?
Who said I was nice? You know that wonderful sticker, right? Well-behaved women rarely make history. I don't think you can be nice and be in politics. In fact, I often call it my secret strength is when you get into politics, you start getting a lot of vitriol online. And a lot of it, especially in the age of social media, is very personal. They have talked stuff about my family, about my grandfather, about me. I've been called vermin, cockroach, carpetbagger, all sorts of things. And you can't let it affect you. But you have to be strong. And so nice is not necessarily the
That's not a requirement. What makes you put up with all that? Why is it worth it to you? Why is this important for you to be running, to have run for local office?
So it's very personal. I very early on in my life, when I was 3 or 4 years old, I knew I was gay. And I was growing up in India in the 1980s, and I was always terrified. I was scared of being out. I was scared of what would happen if I came out. And when I moved here to the US in 2001, and I came out and eventually, got married, found love, have a family, I feel that America gave me a second life. And I feel that I owe it to this amazing country that allowed me to live my life to the fullest possible, to give back in a way that I can.
Well, that's great. Alvin, you are an extremely nice guy. You were born and raised in Colonie. You've worked for the same company for 41 years. You are a deacon in your church. I can't imagine you telling me you are not a nice person. Do you get the same sort of criticism, and how do you handle it?
Well, first of all, I kind of got a little sad when she was talking because I don't have that experience. I'm running for a lot of different reasons, but I'm sorry that wherever she came from, she got treated that way. And part of the reason why I am running is because I have a different story. My parents moved here. I will be 63 years old this October. And my parents moved to Colonie when I was 5 years old. I have to say, there might have been some prejudice, very small, growing up in Colonie back in the 70s, or like I said, in the early beginnings, when there were only a few minority families here in Colonie. If the percentage is only 6% now in the year 2024, what was it in 1966? I would say pretty low. But I have to tell you, I've lived a very, I didn't live a very good life. I've lived a very great life. My parents got along. The next door neighbor, my father was a truck driver for Mobil Oil, and our across the street neighbor, they were the big family. They had 5 kids. Their father was a truck driver for almost the same company. They used to call it Monkey Wards. My father started there, and he went to Mobil Oil, because he could get 15 cents more an hour. And at the time, I was the firstborn, and my mother was pregnant with me, and my father went to Mobil Oil, and he seems like a genius now, but the stock split, I think, at least 3 times, and we live a very, very blessed life. And
That's
my
excellent.
story is different. My story is this: what I experienced having 2 parents with a high school education, living in this town that I've never left. I want some other people to live the life I live.
Have the same
Including
thing.
me,
Let
Rosemary,
Oh, go ahead.
your
I'm
house.
I'm sorry. I'm going to keep cutting because I have many
Okay.
questions here.
Okay.
And I appreciate that you both have very different experiences. I sort of thought that would be the case. Both of you, I think, I know how hard both of you are working, and I think you both went out campaigning today. Minita, what is a typical day on a campaign trail like for you? What do you have to do?
Well, so I often joke about how I have 3 jobs, and my mother-in-law reminds me I have 4. I am teaching at Skidmore College, so many days I will wake up at 6 o'clock, teach often until 12:30, have lunch, and then go do campaign stuff where I'll do call time. So one of the key pieces of any campaign is that we have to raise a lot of money. And I think that's a fundamentally broken system, especially after, the Supreme Court cases and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But in a race like mine, we have raised close to $500,000. And that's a ridiculous amount of money to raise. That's like raising $60,000 a month. Okay, that's like people's whole paychecks. So we have to spend a lot of time on call time. So I will spend 2-3 hours on that a day sometimes.
Wow.
And then we're, a whole bunch of other campaign stuff. I've written a couple of op-eds, so I'm doing research on, new ideas and policies. Going door to door, knocking doors, and then twice a month I have my city council meetings. So I'm, doing city council work as well. It's budget season. So I have to make our city's budget. So I am working almost 100-hour weeks at this point right now.
Wow. Alvin, how about you? How hard is it for you to ask money? Do you have like a line that always gets you some bucks?
No, that is a difficult part. That's hard for everyone. The money part is hard, but you just got to live with it, that aspect of it, and you start getting used to it. When I first started, it was very difficult to always ask people for money, and you didn't want to be that person that when you walk in a room, like, oh boy, he's going to be asking me for money. But you know what? You do get used to doing it, and I have to say I have a team. And we just stay at it consistently. We're trying to get a lot of people to give us, small amounts of money, and I think that works a little bit better than trying to hit that super home run. Someone just giving you thousands of dollars. That just doesn't happen. It's the small, consistent, small donations that you can get each day, and you just got to go out each day and do it. That doesn't make it easy, but raising money is a very difficult part.
It is part of our system, unfortunately. You are right about that. It's crazy how much money is involved. I want to ask you now about another part of the system I think is nuts, which is how little voters know, including even what their district is. Have you had to explain where District 44 is, where District 43 is? Minita, let's start with you. I'm appalled at. Do people know what a state senator even does, why it's an important job? Have you found that to be the case?
I've had a lot of people ask me, when is the election?
Oh, that's painful.
And many of them have been my colleagues at work. So, I feel sometimes that even the brightest minds of our country are not necessarily paying attention to politics, especially local politics. And a lot of it is we expect the government to work smoothly. And that's, I feel what allows incumbents like my opponent to be in office for 47 years. It's people sort of know these names in passing and they'll just go vote for the person without realizing what is it that my state senator is doing? And why is it that out of 1,000 bills that have been passed, my state senator has passed only 2? And if they started asking those questions, they would know that they are getting a really bad rate of return on their state senator for the 44th district. So I think those kinds of questions are important, and I tried to explain that. So I'm a teacher, I'm a professor by trade, and so I really love teaching people, and I take that moment to explain the importance of all of this.
Is it also, I'm going to get you in a minute, Alvin, I'm not leaving you out, but is it also difficult to get attention in this, which is not just a presidential election year, but in a very controversial presidential election year? Is it difficult to get attention for a state Senate race?
Absolutely. And I think Alvin might agree with me on this. It's really hard to break through the clutter. It's really hard to get a news story out there. People sort of are not paying attention as much, and unless you're doing something sensational, you're not going to cut through that clutter.
Mm-hmm. How about you on Alvin, on trying to educate people? Have you had to give civic lessons in order to talk to people about who they're voting for?
Not really, but what she's saying, some parts of it is absolutely true. The education part. Now I'm going in a district that got redistricted, so there were different party lines, and there were different, the way the system, or the way this territory was broken up. It's brand new. So because
Yes.
it's brand new, you got to give them some slack on that. But I think that's the reason why we're out there, because they want to know, like, who is the senator now, and what's with the redistricting.
Right.
They want to know, but they kind of like heard about it a couple of years ago, but they didn't actually know exactly where it is. So when I say it's all of Colonie, all of Rensselaer County, they get those two. But then when I say Washington County, they're like, "Where's Washington?
Where's that?" Yeah.
Where is that? And isn't that so far out? And those questions, and they are right with that. So you are right on the head about educating them, and what does it entail, and why is it broken up that way? So it is a part of education. But if we're patient and give them that education, that's when, if they're receptive to ask questions, I feel like I got them a little bit. Because once I start talking and you get on another subject, on one of the issues that I'm going for, then they're a little bit more receptive. Once they open that door and they're going to give me those 2 or 3 minutes that I can get, I leave making an impression. So
that's fascinating. We are talking with two hardworking Democratic candidates for the state Senate, Alvin Gamble in the 43rd district, and Minita Sanghvi in the 44th district. And I have this very important next question for you. Do lawn signs really work? Minita, do you have lawn signs all over Saratoga County? And
we just got our lawn signs.
Make a difference? You just got them, okay?
Yeah, we just got our lawn signs, and I know that people in politics will tell you lawn signs don't vote, and that is true. But I feel like lawn signs show momentum, and when people see lawn signs, that name gets reinforced again and again, and I think that does help. I think it doesn't actually get people to vote, but if it gets people curious, being like, "Hey, I've seen this lawn sign. Who is this person?" Maybe they'll ask their neighbor.
So when you drive through the city and you see Tedesco signs, do you get depressed?
I haven't seen any yet.
Alvin, how about you? You have some lawn signs up. I've seen a few. You work hard at that. Do you think they work?
I absolutely think they work. On our first election, the team and I, that was when I went for town council person. I had to ask some of my other fellow council members who've been there a few years before me certain things, and that was one of the questions. So everyone, when I went for councilman, everyone else was getting about anywhere between 350, and I think the highest other person got 600 signs. We went with as we were scouting, and we're what we call balling on a budget and making sure we get the most bang out of our money. It came out to be that the best deal that we can get was to buy 1,000 signs, and that's like double what some people. But you know what? Once we got the 1,000, we put out 960 signs when I ran for council. And wherever I went, people said, "I saw your signs all over here. I saw your signs all over there." And it was like the running joke that he goes, who else? I don't even see your opponent's signs. So, so for me and my team, the signs were critical. And if they thought they saw something the first time with 1,000 signs, we got 4,000 now. So they're really going to get a blast.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
And
goodness. All right. Are there other tips that you found for winning votes? If it isn't lawn signs, is it buttons? Is it going door to door? How much time do you spend canvassing yourself? Not just your people, but you, Alvin.
okay, we did something that they told me not to do, and we went untraditional. You know, you have all of the data on all the houses, and you know, you can go to any one house, and they'll say one Democrat, one Republican, maybe one undecided. We started with something that and a lot of people still don't do. We went to on a lot of neighborhoods, most neighborhoods, we just knocked on every door. We had an army, and it's sometimes we've gone to places that had the opponents, you know, signs and whatever. And we started that one time, and we knocked on the door. At one time, I think it was like one Democrat, one Republican, and maybe an undecided. So then that way you would talk, and then we would try to win over the other one. And we started having great success. And then one time, someone on our team saw something, and someone was outside maybe, and we just saw someone outside, and we just said, look, let's just go talk to them. They're outside. It happened to be two Republicans, and you know what we did? We flipped them. They said that, you know what, no one ever comes to the door, and my team is very similar to me, very personable, very talkative, and we started flipping, you know, people from the red, and we made them blue. And one of the guys on my team would say, we call that a twofer, meaning we got one that we got, and then we took one from them, and having 10,000 votes casted and winning by 54 votes. I think that was part of the reason.
That's what happened. Minita, how about you? Do you have any good campaign memories like that one?
Sure. We go door to door, and it's sort of like leave no conversation unturned. We will talk to anybody who is out there. We knock doors, and we are knocking some Republican doors based on the universe that has been defined. But we are largely knocking Dem doors, undecided doors, unaffiliated, libertarians, Green Party,
Mm-hmm.
and if there are people outside, I'll talk to them. I'll talk to anybody. The idea here is if we can get the word out, people have questions, and I love answering questions. And most of the work that I'm working on is infrastructure. You don't have to be Republican or Democrat to believe that we have really spotty cell phone coverage in Saratoga. Around here, I don't know how it is in Colonie, but around here it's really spotty, especially in many people's homes even. And it's not a nonpartisan issue. The fact that trucks hit low-lying bridges is a nonpartisan issue. And all of these things should have been taken care of. And so that's what I want to talk about. And people.
And there's an audience for that.
Yeah.
There is an audience for that.
Yeah.
Both of you have families and you have children. I want you to talk a little bit about the toll that it takes for you running. And do you ever exploit them? You put their pictures on your campaign material. Do you take your kids with you when you're going door to door? Alvin, start with you.
Well, yes.
Yes, you exploit them.
Yes to the above questions. But me getting in politics all started with, I campaigned for a friend of mine. His daughter and my son started second grade together. And now going back almost 10 years, when I first went door to door, I took my son as a project. So I would take my son with me. And
how old was he then?
He's 20. Well, he's 20 now. He turned 20 last week. So he was probably around 12 years old, 10 to 12 years old, because it was a long time ago, about 8 to 10 years ago. So it was like a project to have him go out and talk to the people. And I let him know what we're doing. And I just wanted my children to be educated on the election process and all of that. We were the kind of parents, my wife and I, that brought our kids into the voting booth when they were young kids, just to let them know about how hard it was for my for my people and my grandfather who couldn't vote. So voting was always a big thing, and the right to vote is not only important now, but it's critical. So, and as you said, the toll on the family, not really. They love it. My wife also comes out and knocks on doors with me. The toll is that you have to do it every day. And she doesn't go every day. The toll is sometimes when, on events that I would have normally go to, right now they have to go in the back burner, but that's where a family comes together. She knows that I'm doing this not only for myself but for this community, and she takes that in stride. And some things she just has to do by herself or just with the kids, but they understand. And you got to have an understanding. If your mate is not 110% behind you, I don't see how it can work.
We could ask Donald Trump about that. I understand. Minita, how about you? You have also a family, a younger family than Alvin's, and how are they dealing with all this?
It's really hard. I mean, there are no bones about it. And my son was about 6 or 7 when I first ran for city council, and he hated all of it, and he still, doesn't like it much. Because what he wants is his mommy home.
Wants mommy home, sure.
Yeah. And every time that he's out, like I'm out, which is almost every evening, I'm out knocking doors and stuff. I'm not there to take him for basketball practice. I'm not there to take him for soccer. And he wants me there. I try very hard, especially for he just started school, and I wanted to be there for his school drop off. But there are lots of things that I miss, and I'm sad to miss a lot of his moments, because I know that these moments are not going to come back again. But it is a sacrifice you have to make, and I'm truly appreciative of Megan, sort of being there, willing to fill in, because I'm not able to be there. And like Alvin said, your spouse has to be there, and I can tell you Megan doesn't love it, but she understands that, I do a good job, and she's 100% sure that, I have the best interests of our district in mind, that I'm doing it for the right reasons. And that's why she is fine with sort of taking on that slack.
That was Minita Sanghvi you've been listening to. She is a candidate for in the 44th district for a state Senate seat. We also have Alvin Gamble, who is running in the 43rd district for the state Senate. We're going to take a break here. We'll be back in just a few minutes with more questions. We are starting off a new season of our Mayo on the Brink, our podcast, with a new sponsor. I'm very happy about that. It is Embellish Boutique in Latham. Anyone who knows me is wondering at this point what the heck I'm doing with a sponsor involved in style or fashion. But it isn't mine. It's my cousin's. Her name is Maureen Buckley. She was always the pretty one in the family, tall, thin, blonde. And even though she had a career in business, she spent her time looking for unusual and really weird, interesting, beautiful stuff from New York and Atlanta. And in her retirement, she has opened up this wonderful boutique. Every time you go in there, you're going to find something you didn't really intend to buy, but somehow you cannot bear to leave without buying. And you can afford it, because she sells what she calls affordable chic. It's the uniqueness and the style, the flair involved, not the price tag that matters. I think you're going to really like it. It's called Embellish. Cute spelling too, Mbellish Boutique. It's in Latham. Please look her up on Facebook. And also back as sponsors for this season are Denise and Scott Stoner. They are the married photographers and writers who are behind Nature Logs. I have a brand new painting hanging up in my house, thanks to them. It's of a penguin from the Galapagos Islands. The couple just came back from their latest trek around the world looking for unique and beautiful nature, and they found it among the turtles and the birds of Galapagos. You can buy prints and photos and other artwork by them at naturelogs.com, and you can read. They both do writings about nature. They're fabulous. I'm a writer myself. I'm a little bit jealous. And that's also available at naturelogs.substacks. And let me spell Naturelogs for you. NATURELOGUES, like travel logs. They're very cool. Welcome back to On the Brink with Rosemary Armeo. That is me, and we're hearing from two state Senate candidates. They've taken time off of the campaign trail to talk to us about how their life gets upended by this whole process that we go through in order to put elected officials into place. And Minita, we left it off with you. I had been asking what kind of toll this takes on your family. You don't take your child door to door, and like paper boys. We used to sell more newspapers when we used young kids to sell the product. You're not doing that.
No. So when I ran in 2021 for city council, I was going door to door, and somebody called the cops on me.
Oh my gosh.
So since then, I've always had somebody come with me, and I really try not to make it a person of color, because I feel that if I am with a person of color, and had I been with a person of color that day, it would have ended a lot different than how it did. And there have been times when I've taken my son, even just for like petitions, to get signatures on petitions, to get on the ballot. There have been people who've shut the door in our faces. And I don't want him to see that world yet. He's going to see it eventually, but if I can shield him from it for a little bit longer, I will.
Wow, it's hard. It's hard to see how you have such a upbeat attitude about America and its opportunities when you've had experiences like that. Alvin, what do you think?
Well, this is on script, but I want to tell you, Minita, I have so much more respect for you because of this interview. The things that you've gone through, you shouldn't have to go through. And I really mean this. I would, if I had time, I one day just to you go in my district and I go in yours and just see the difference, because I want you to see what you should be getting. Only one or two people have been like shut the door, and maybe because they know of me, but I would just want you to know how much more respect I have of you for what you do and what you have to go through, because it really shows me the character you are. I want you to know that, okay?
Thank you. And again, not everybody is like that, I mean,
I know.
yeah.
But you're a strong woman, and I just have so much respect for you. And while you're saying that, I have my wife here in the room, and she's supporting me even right now. She can see everyone, and I have that support, and that makes it so much easier to have the support. And I come home, and sometimes she has to eat dinner by herself and all of that, and she'll wait and eat it late. But it's a different thing, and as she's listening to this, I'm so blessed to have the support not only from her, but from my advisors and everyone else. So I just want you to know, keep up the fight, and your fight will make me even stronger. And I really want you to know that, okay?
That's terrific. Minita, do your students know what you're doing, and are they supportive or disinterested, or what's their attitude?
A lot of students are interested and excited, but again, the question is, will they come out to vote?
Yeah, that's
there have been
different.
times when we've had like 200, 300 plus registered voters, and we've asked people to go out and vote, and 50 will vote. So we are really hoping to get the student turnout. I think it's so important to get young people interested, excited about the issues that are impacting them. And I really wish that there was some way we could energize them to come out and vote in larger numbers.
Yeah, that's a problem that many people are trying to tackle. At the national level, we are all sick to death of politics. I don't even want to hear about, although I will listen to the debate when that comes on. Are you finding the same sort of fatigue with politicians and politics at the local level? Minita first, since I have you.
I think people are sick to death of drama and vitriol. I think they want their streets plowed, and they want their leaves picked up, and they want their bridges to work, and they want sidewalks and bike lanes and things like that. So I think people want stuff that they want to have fixed, but they don't want the drama behind the politics of it all.
Yeah. How about you, Alvin? Are you getting people who are just like, oh, go away, I'm tired of this?
Yeah, we are getting that, but there's a lot of chatter like never before, especially for, the Dems. I think we're sick and tired of hashtag 45. We're sick of that, and we're sick of the untruths that are going on. I believe that once we get this election over with, and we get our new female president, I think everything is going to change so dramatically, and we're going to look back at these times and say, how did we even, go through that? And that's what I'm waiting for. All the work that we're all doing right now is going to pay off in the end. But, I think all the back and forth on TV and all that, I think we all are getting a little tired of that part of it. Let's
Yeah,
get
a little bit. Okay, now after that upbeat and optimistic tone, this question is going to take the opposite track because I want you to talk about losing. Losing is as much a part of politics as winning, and I want to know what your plan B is. I am assuming there will not be a march, an insurrection down at the state capitol, that you will accept the election results. What's your plan B? Alvin, start with you.
I got to be honest with you, don't have one, because words have power. All I'm thinking about is winning 100%. So you might have to go to her on that question, because I don't have a plan B. I have one plan.
Spoken like a real politician, isn't going to admit it's possible. How about you, Minita? Are you going to take that route also?
Well, I 100% want to win, and I 100% want to win because I want to do good work for our district. But I am a professor. I have a day job, and I have a lot of research that I want to get back to. I have a novel. It's actually called Pride in Politics that I'm working on.
That's great.
That I want to finish. So I have a lot of things that I'm looking forward to in my life. But truly, 100%, what I want to do is win. I want to get to the state capitol, and I want to do good work for our district.
That's great. I want to sincerely thank our two guests, Alvin Gamble and Minita Sanghvi. We end our podcast with a toast, and I have a toast to make tonight. I want to make it in tribute to the serious, committed, hardworking politicians across the region and the country, not just the two I have on here, who are out there asking for money, seeking votes, trying to make a difference. And I also want this toast to go out to citizens who realize that this is so important. Even if you're tempted to slam the door in their face and you're so tired of it, this is an effort worthy of your attention. Politicians are getting a bad rap in our country right now. And I want it to be clear that only a few of them actually deserve that bad reputation. The rest are like Alvin and Minita. Save our democracy. Respect. Some of you have been with us for a while, but now that we're into the third season of On the Brink, I want to remind you to please listen to us. We are on all the platforms where they have podcasts, including Google and iHeart and Apple, and there's more. You can find us. And if you do, please listen, comment on us, rate us, rank us, tell us what you think. We always are eager for feedback. Thank you very much.